How would your life change if you could effortlessly navigate the intricacies of human interaction, positively impacting everyone you meet? When it comes to human interaction, few guides have stood the test of time, like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. As we journey through the book's profound wisdom, we'll navigate its depths in 4 illuminating parts. In Part 1, you'll learn the 3 fundamental principles that form the bedrock of Carnegie's philosophy. The art of refraining from criticism, the genuine appreciation of others, the skill of appealing to their interests. In Part 2, we'll explore the art of endearing oneself to others, where genuine interest and a simple smile become potent tools. In Part 3, we unlock the secrets of influencing others' perspectives. Finally, in Part 4, we tackle giving feedback and unraveling the tricks of guiding behavior without offending. Let's get started. Part 1. The 3 fundamental principles that underline the book. So, Carnegie introduces us to the 3 general principles underlying the other chapters. Here is what they are all about. Fundamental. Don't criticize or complain. People don't usually criticize themselves, even if they make mistakes. Why? Because we are all driven by feelings, personal biases, and pride. As such, criticizing someone often makes them defensive, justifying their actions even if they're wrong. Even notorious figures like Al Capone found criticism hurtful because criticism can damage pride and importance, creating long-lasting resentments. So, what to do? Before criticizing, consider what you don't know about the situation. Imagine the best scenario and whether you'd act differently. Lincoln, during the Civil War, chose understanding over blaming. Parents should remember their kids are learning, so even for serious mistakes, encourage improvement rather than harsh criticism. Bob Hoover, after a plane crash, chose understanding, fostering improvement. Let me give you an example to sink the point home. A wife asked her husband for 6 ways she could improve herself. Instead of listing 100, he waited a day to think, then bought her 6 roses and said, "I wouldn't change anything about you. I like you the way you are." This simple act conveyed love and acceptance, avoiding unnecessary criticism. Fundamental 2. Appreciate people sincerely. We all have an innate need for importance, sometimes as crucial as food and air. For this reason, recognizing others' strengths and acknowledging their value is key to building meaningful connections. When someone makes a mistake, focus on praising the positive aspects rather than criticizing them. Rockefeller's response to a financial loss exemplifies this approach. When Rockefeller's partner lost a large sum overseas, the boss didn't chastise them but praised him for saving 60% of the money invested, better than what they sometimes retained from errors. Leaving small signs of appreciation in daily life, such as recognizing a service person's positive attitude, goes a long way. Publicly praising individuals without veering into insincere flattery contributes to their sense of importance. For example, Stevie Wonder's teacher recognized his unique ability to hear and asked for his help, marking a turning point in his life. This simple appreciation for his strength changed his perspective on his blindness. Fundamental 3. Appeal to the other person's interests. When fishing, you use what the fish likes, like worms, not cheesecake. Similarly, when dealing with people, you should focus on their wants. People are a lot like you. Everyone wants things for themselves. The key to getting people to listen is talking about what they want and helping them get it. Henry Ford, a successful man, said that the secret to success is understanding the other person's point of view. Before you talk. 1. Consider what the other person can gain from it. 2. Try not to speak only about what you want. 3. Show that you genuinely want to help others. In a world where many people think about themselves, being someone who helps others gives you a significant advantage. Do things that aren't directly about what you want, like a real estate agent helping with a personal problem. Andrew Carnegie, wanting a reply from his sister-in-law's kids, cleverly mentioned sending money without actually doing it. They replied, asking about the money, showing that appealing to their interest worked. Part 2. How to Get People to Like You. In the book's second part, Carnegie teaches us how to get people to like us and actually suggests 6 tips for doing it. Here are the 6 tips. Tip 1. Show genuine interest in the other person. Similar to the universal friendliness of a dog, showing genuine interest in others makes them feel significant. To build connections, inquire about others' backgrounds and goals. Share solutions to their problems when you find them. Engage with people regardless of their status and express genuine interest in those both beneath and above your level. When interacting with people from different cultures, try to understand their world. Remember and acknowledge birthdays, greeting people with warmth and enthusiasm. Tip 2. Smile. A smile is a powerful communicator of positive messages. Greet people with animation and enthusiasm, whether in person or over the phone. Smile, especially at those not used to receiving smiles. If you're not in the mood to smile, force yourself to do it, as acting happy can lead to feeling happy. Tip 3. Say the person's name. A person's name is a significant part of their identity. Using and remembering someone's name makes them feel important. In conversation, use the person's name multiple times to help remember it and show genuine interest. Tie the name to specific details about the person for a lasting impression. Tip 4. Listen well and encourage others to talk show. Genuine interest in others by being a great conversationalist. Allow others to talk about themselves. Everyone's life is most important to them. Avoid boasting about your accomplishments. Listening is a powerful tool for diffusing anger and building connections. Ask questions that people enjoy answering, inquire about backgrounds, and express fascination with their stories. Tip 5. Discuss the other person's interests. People are more enthusiastic about topics they care about. Before meeting someone, do thorough research on their interests. Identify their major goals and discuss how you can help them get closer to those goals. Notice what people spend time on or are proud of and show appreciation for their interests. Tip 6. Make the other person feel important. Recognize that almost everyone may feel superior in some way. Subtly acknowledge their importance to establish a positive connection. Avoid actions that demean or make the other person feel small. Give genuine compliments when the cost is low, use polite phrases, and pay special attention to people often treated as unimportant. Part 3. How to win. People to your way of thinking. Praise is good, but what do you do when someone disagrees? Carnegie explores that in this third part of the book by offering practical arguments. Let's look at his arguments for winning people to your thinking. Argument 1. Avoid a heated argument. Arguing without an invitation doesn't make others like you. Pointing out someone's mistake hurts their pride. It's crucial to control your temper as it reflects on your character. If a disagreement persists, agree to move on politely. Sincerely thank opponents as they share common interests. Embrace disagreement as an opportunity for thoughtful consideration. For instance, a tax consultant resolved an audit stalemate by acknowledging the inspector's expertise and engaging in a constructive conversation. Argument 2. Have a friendly approach. Avoid hostility, as it invites reciprocation. Approach commands as if seeking permission. When making requests, focus on appreciation rather than complaints. Start complaints with positive aspects. When hearing complaints, express understanding instead of confrontation. Rockefeller successfully dealt with hostile strikers by spending time with them and expressing friendliness. Argument 3. Respecting the other person's opinions. Navigating differing opinions requires acknowledging the possibility of your own fallibility. Avoid attacking opposing views and replace dogmatic language with phrases like, "I imagine." Invite opinions and welcome disagreements to transform conflicts into collaborative discussions. A lumber salesman turned a potentially adversarial situation into a cooperative effort by inquiring about rejected pieces during a quality inspection. Argument 4. Admit when you're wrong. Acknowledging errors diffuses conflicts and earns respect. People are less likely to criticize someone who admits mistakes, swiftly and genuinely accept errors without making excuses. This tactic encourages constructive dialogue and support from colleagues. An example from Carnegie's life involves admitting guilt to a police officer, diffusing tension and softening the officer's stance. Argument 5. Let the other person talk. Encourage others to express their thoughts fully instead of imposing your viewpoints. Actively invite others to share their stories or opinions, fostering an environment conducive to productive discussions. Resisting the impulse to interrupt demonstrates respect. In a workplace scenario, dealing with an employee's reluctance to relocate involves acknowledging their concerns and asking for their perspective on potential challenges. Argument 6. Try to understand others. Consider things from the other person's point of view and avoid calling their thoughts irrational. Find out why they think and act the way they do. Treat their ideas and feelings as important as your own. For instance, Dale Carnegie advised teens about the dangers of forest fires by understanding their desire for fun and discussing potential consequences. Argument 7. Show you understand and care. Acknowledge that upset people feel they have a good reason to be upset. Begin by saying, "I don't blame you for feeling the way you do." Talk about why they are upset to show you're listening and apologize for the problem, even if they also apologize. Argument 8. Find common ground. First, instead of saying no, agree on something first to avoid defensiveness. Guide, don't push, and talk about shared goals before discussing differences. Highlighting common goals and discussing situations regarding what matters to the other person can help find common ground. Argument 9. Let them take credit for ideas. Make people feel important by letting them take credit for their ideas. Encourage them to come to their own conclusions. Giving them a plan and asking for their advice involves them in the decision-making process. Argument 10. Appeal to the best in people. Emphasize the good and moral reasons for doing something. Appeal to what's morally right and talk about situations most people can understand. Argument 11. Make your ideas clear and interesting. Make the truth exciting and dramatic to capture your attention. Use visuals to show the importance of your message in a memorable way. Argument 12. Give them a challenge. Use competition as motivation, as people want to prove they are good at something. Encourage them by questioning their strength subtly and show how well others are doing to foster competition. Part 4. Giving feedback to people. The final part of the book focuses on providing feedback to individuals, instead of initiating a discussion as outlined in Part 3, where arguments are emphasized. This part addresses situations where you observe areas for improvement and need to effectively communicate that feedback. This advice applies in relationships of all directions, your superiors, equals, and subordinates. Let's go deeper. Feedback 1. Start with praise. The principle here is that it's easier for someone to accept criticism if they've heard praise first. With praise, criticism can come off as mild and may be well received. Being sincere in your praise is crucial, focusing on specific things done well rather than generic compliments. The key tactic is to avoid sounding formulaic. Your praise should be genuine and relevant. For example, a manager dealing with a subcontractor delay started the conversation by praising the cleanliness of the factory and acknowledging the president's unique contributions. This set a positive tone, making the president more receptive to addressing the issue. Feedback 2. Point out the problems indirectly. Rather than directly pointing out mistakes, which may lead to resistance, take an oblique approach. This involves combining your sincere praise with an "and" rather than a "but" when addressing areas for improvement. This helps the person save face and feel motivated to make things right. For instance, instead of saying, "You've done an excellent job working hard, but you could have prevented these careless mistakes," you could say, "You've done an excellent job working hard, and if you focus on building a checklist, you'll improve your accuracy rate." Feedback 3. Point out your own mistakes. Giving feedback shouldn't be one-sided. Admitting your own mistakes creates a more empathetic and understanding environment. Acknowledging that the task is difficult and sharing your own experiences encourages the other person to improve without feeling belittled. For example, a secretary making spelling mistakes was approached by her engineer boss, who shared his own list of frequently misspelled words, creating a connection and encouraging improvement without harsh criticism. Feedback 4. Ask questions instead of giving orders. Rather than giving orders, asking questions preserves the person's agency and pride. It allows them to come to their own conclusions and stimulates their creativity. Questions like, "You might consider this," or "What do you think of this?" foster a sense of ownership and encourage better ideas to surface. For example, a manager unsure about handling a large order asked his staff questions like, "Can we think of different ways to process it?" This involved the team in problem-solving and decision-making. Feedback 5. Preserve the person's pride. People value their importance, and if you undermine that importance, it can lead to resentment. Preserve their pride even when providing feedback or addressing mistakes. Acknowledge that mistakes happen out of momentary carelessness or inexperience rather than lack of ability. For instance, instead of criticizing an employee for a mistake, a manager thanked her for her work, expressing faith in her abilities and attributing the error to lack of experience rather than incompetence. Feedback 6. Create a reputation to live up to. Act as though the person already possesses the trait you want them to improve. This creates a positive image they'll strive to maintain. By valuing specific traits or reputations, you make the person feel important and encourage them to live up to that image. For example, if an excellent worker is falling short in performance, praising their previous work and reputation for quality sets a standard they would want to maintain. Feedback 7. Make the improvement look easy. Instead of telling someone they lack talent, encourage them by saying they have the right fundamentals and just need practice. Relate the task to something they've already mastered, making it seem achievable. For instance, a dance instructor telling a poor dancer they are a natural-born dancer boosts confidence and makes improvement seem more feasible. Feedback 8. Keep the person's interest in mind. Always consider the other person's interests and incentives when providing feedback. Link your suggestions to meeting their interests and offer alternatives when turning down requests. For example, when rejecting someone for a responsibility, implying that they're too important for the role can preserve their pride and motivate them. Feedback 9. Praise every improvement. Praising every improvement inspires continuous growth. Be specific in your praise, highlighting particular accomplishments. Break out of negative cycles by incorporating positive reinforcement. For example, a father helped his slow-learning son master multiplication tables by acknowledging every slight improvement, turning a challenging task into a series of achievable goals. What do you think about the insights in Dale Carnegie's principles? Can they reshape your approach to communication and relationships? Let us know in the comments. Remember to subscribe for more insightful video summaries of thought-provoking books and give us a thumbs up and share widely.